Okay. Alright, you're going live in 3, 2, 1. Hang on. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello everybody, welcome to the first run of the Horrible Games Marathon of 2021. First marathon of ours this year. Very excited to get started. Today I've got a pretty fun run for you. We got Fairly OddParents. You can see I really wanted to have the best run possible, so I am in Timmy's room. And don't worry, I brought my pink hat. I got it. I just got to stay like this for the whole run. It's fine. Alright. So without too much further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this any percent run, shall we? Alright, let me just pull up my live split. There we go. Alright. So, time starts on new game, so I'm going to count down. I'm going to go on 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is going to be kind of a goofy run if you have not seen this game before. It is a 3D platformer that was made by THQ and Blitz Games. Trying to take off my hat, sorry. There we go. It is pretty broken. It has a lot of goofy issues. And some pretty fun glitches. This first level is going to be pretty vanilla. It's just the tutorial. There's not a whole lot we can do here. There's one glitch that saves like 6 seconds that I might be able to do. It's going to be right up here at the top of this ladder. Alright, so I didn't get it. So if you jump in a really precise spot, this star won't run away from you, and you can push this box sooner. So these stars are basically what allow us to get the items that we use in this game. Every level in this game has different items, and you get them from collecting wishes, so that way you can make wishes from your fairy godparents. So the first tutorial just has these 3 stars, these yellow ones, so it should be pretty. It's pretty quick and easy, luckily. We don't have to spend too much time in tutorial. But unfortunately, the one item that it has is the worst item in the game, which is the slingshot, which is really unreliable. It's very hard to get it to fire when you want it to fire. Ooh. It also, the bullets like sway back and forth a little bit, so sometimes you'll get like a direct shot, but it won't actually hit, like right there. And then, so I'm going to dive back over towards this door, which is going to skip a cutscene and save about 3 seconds. Basically, if you're not close enough, there's basically 2 cutscenes that play at the end of the level, and one of them has a cutscene trigger by that door. And if you're at the door when the other cutscene is supposed to play, it plays the second cutscene and like overwrites the first one. Because as you've noticed, I've been skipping a lot of cutscenes through skip scene in the menu. But not all cutscenes have that ability. A number of cutscenes throughout the game do not have that ability, especially some of the longer ones. And so we do have a couple cutscene skips that we're going to try. One of them, the biggest one being in this level. Alright, so we just got to get our stars first, and now we got our card gun cannon thing. Card spray gizmo, as Timmy calls it. And so here's another good skip right here. So you're supposed to do a bunch of stuff to get another item to then repair this bridge, but we can just run jump right across, and so we don't even need that item. The only reason we get this item is because we need it to defeat the boss of this stage. So this is actually usually a pretty long stage casually. It's one of the shortest in the speedrun because we can do an out of bounds right here where we jump off of that slant onto this tent that we're not supposed to be on top of. And now we can get over here, which this gate usually only opens at the very end of the level. And it will load a texture for a bridge that's here, but lucky for us, the collision is actually here. It just loads the texture when you complete the level. So this is the first big trick of the run, so I'm going to be silent for a second here. Alright, so I just missed it. I believe I was 1 frame off. So there is a cutscene skip here that's rather difficult. I just realized my pink hat is still on. That's hilarious. It's a 2-frame cutscene skip where if you pause it in the first 2 frames of the cutscene, you can hit skip scene and you'll basically pop out of the cutscene. We don't really know why this happens with certain cutscenes, but it only works with a handful of them. This being the most, or it only works with a couple of them. This being the most important one. But yeah, so it loses about 45 seconds if you miss it. But that's all right. Usually on a world record attempt, that would definitely be a reset. But luckily, the thing with this game is that a lot of the tricks that are quote-unquote like required for the run aren't actually required, and you can like, for example, that's a difficult trick. It's got a 2-frame window, but you don't actually need to do it to run the game. You might have noticed also that I had to shoot the hearts at him for a while before he was vulnerable. We don't really know, as far as I'm aware, no one knows why there's such a delay between when you can hurt him with that first attack. Also, you'll notice I'm standing on top of this dispenser. That's because those elves can't hit me on top of the dispenser, which makes this much faster and easier. Alright, so now this is where you'll see runners kind of diverge in their routing, because we can now do a couple different levels at the same time. So first we have to grab this fairy magic muffin recipe, which will come into play later. But now I'm gonna choose to do Take It on the Chin first. This is the level that most people do third. I like doing it second. It is my favorite split. I really like this level. It's got a lot of cool tricks in it. Also, you might have noticed that cutscenes, I tend to have to skip more than one cutscene when they come up, and that's because they tend to spawn in batches, where instead of playing one long cutscene, it'll play like 2 or 3 short cutscenes, and so you actually have to skip them all. The tricky part is that there is like 1 to 2 frames between each cutscene, meaning that if you pause on those 1 to 2 frames, you won't be able to skip the cutscene, and you'll have to unpause and repause. Ooh, camera's getting a little funky here. Here we go. Alright, so we got the pogo stick, but we actually don't need this quite yet. So you may have noticed that I went off to the side there at the start. That's actually the second wish that you're supposed to get, even though on the HUD it's the first one. They want you to come over here first. Skip that star there, get to intercept it. And they want you to like go across this gap with this box pushing puzzle, but if you go get the pogo stick first, we can just jump up it, and then we can also skip the ladder around back and just come over and grab this guy, which makes that a bit quicker. If you were doing the casual route, that'd be slower because we need to walk all the way around back up where we were before. But I'll show you why we don't need to do that. I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to go try to do a frame perfect trick. There we go. Alright, so that's called an item cancel. In this case, it's called an infinite hover. Basically, if you bring up the menu to swap items on the same frame that you use the glider, you can basically just use it infinitely. And I'm going to use that again to try to set up another very difficult trick here. So you'll notice I have to do this infinite hover on this really awkward platform, which makes it difficult because I have to hold the joystick in specific directions. There we go. To get that menu to work right. All right, so I'm doing this infinite hover not because this room is difficult, but because I want to go through the top of this door at the very, very top, because there's a cutscene on the other side when you go through that door, and I want to hit this cutscene from the other side, so I can try to attempt to do a bit of a trick here. This is a really tough one to line up. I got it first try. All right, cool. So this is called a glider climb. If you use your glider on the same frame a cutscene starts, on the exact same frame, you will do a glider climb, which is basically when Timmy uses the glider, he raises up for like a few frames before he starts going to the side. And something about the cutscene interrupts that from stopping, where you'll just rise up for the entire length of the cutscene. All right, we got the good cycle here. But yeah, that glider climb is one of the newest tricks that we have for this game. I found it a few months ago now. There's 3 different glider climbs you can do in this level, and so far, I believe there's only ever been one run that had all 3 of them, and it died in the next split. So we don't, it's currently world record has quite a bit of time save available. The problem is that these tricks are all frame perfect, and they are rather difficult. The first one I did is the easiest because there is visual texture cues on the floor. The second one is probably the second easiest because it has a visual cue as well, though not nearly as... Hello? Door? I don't know what's going on with this door. I've never seen that before. That was very odd. So I'm going to try to do it on this button here. There's a cutscene that happens when you press this button. Oh, I was about 3 frames early there. You can tell by how much of the sound effect plays. But yeah, if I had gotten it during that cutscene there, you would have just seen Timmy rise up through the middle of the room. And then when the cutscene ended, I would have been right here. So it does save like a good 20 seconds. Alright, we're going to see another couple cool tricks here. So this is going to be a couple tricks chained together. So this first one is called Earllgray. This is another cutscene skip. Usually we would be stuck in this cutscene and we wouldn't be able to move when the Fairly OddParents are talking. Alright, I'm going to go for the third glider climb. As I said, cutscenes spawn in batches, and there's a frame in between them here where I can get a glider climb. Nope, I did not get it, unfortunately. That is the biggest one. That one saves, like, I think 45 seconds to a minute. And basically it allows you to skip this next trick that I'm about to do. So I'm about to do a trick called Reverse Earllgray. And now, Reverse Earllgray is kind of interesting because there's about 4 different ways you could do it. I'm going to be going for the fastest way. Ooh, almost fell off the edge there. Also, yeah, if you run jump on these platforms, you'll just slide while regaining stamina, which is pretty fun. Ooh, that was a little close. So usually you'd hit this button and this big tank would fall and you could continue through the rest of the level. But I don't want to do that. I want to go all the way to the top. So I am going to use my pogo stick to get on top of that platform. And then I'm going to do it again over here. And then here, I can bounce off the edge of that, get a quick little double jump, and we're all the way at the top now. Running all the way around this multiple times to get to these buttons takes a really long time. It's much faster to go all the way to the top and then all the way back down to the bottom. So these are unfortunately some of the longest cutscenes that we can't skip right here, are when we press these buttons, you get to see the cutscenes of all the floor falling away and everything. Fun fact, all of those like holes in the floor are always there because the collision is always loaded in that way, but the textures are not. And it's because you're never supposed to be able to get to those points in the level without hitting the first button. There is a way to skip one of these cutscenes. Unfortunately, if you do it, that you can't complete the fight because something about these cutscenes are responsible for her health bar dropping because it happens mid cutscene. So if you skip the cutscene, her health bar, she doesn't take damage, and then you can never kill her because you would need another button, but there's only 3 of them. All right, this jump looks a little scary, but it's actually really easy. All right. That's H2 Earllgray. Moving on. That was my favorite split. Lots of cool tricks in that one. But also, most of those tricks are not necessary. They just save like small amounts of time. Alright, Dad's Dream. Alright, so once we get into this stage, we're going to have a pretty long cutscene. So Playful, if you have anything to read, feel free.
This what my dad dreams about?
It's pretty weird, Timmy. But dreams tend to be
will
weird.
do. We have a $5 donation from Kuno. Thank you so much, Kuno.
$5 from Kuno! Yay!
Yay!
Yay! There's confetti all over everything in my room. Oh my gosh! There's literally confetti stuck in the ceiling tiles.
Wrecking his dreams.
Nice.
Destroy that robot?
And I just want to remind everybody that we are helping Heartland Animal Shelter by
Okay.
doing
Let's
this
whip up some wishes
marathon.
and
So if you want to help them out
break
directly,
that
we have their
string
wish list. If you don't want to donate directly to us. So if you want to do exclamation point wish list, that's how you access that.
A suit.
There was a bunch of confetti stuck to my monitor because I run on a CRT and like 3 chunks of it got stuck to the monitor. Yes, definitely a great organization to support. Happy to be here to be able to support Heartland Animal Shelter. But alright, yes, you just saw first trick of Dad's Dream there, which is we call it a suit skip. Basically, those suits are kind of acting like key doors, and you need an item that serves as a key to get past them. But we don't need to for that one. You're also going to see a very big trick here called Dad Skip. This is probably the biggest, the most difficult trick for new runners. You have to just jump around that seam, which is actually pretty difficult. But yeah, that is a big difficult or a big what's the word, hurdle for a lot of new runners to get over his Dad Skip. But once you've done it like a couple times, the muscle memory really helps kick in, and then it's not so bad. But that is probably the hardest trick that is like required by the run, but it's really not that bad. There's also an alternative setup for it that makes it a lot easier to get. It just like takes a minute to get into the setup. I just barely missed that. I bonked on the wall and he caught me. Alright, so now we need to get our first wish, which is actually the wish that we are supposed to use to get past those suits, because we actually do need it, unfortunately. Oh, I just barely missed that star. If you double jump around that corner, sometimes he'll just like run right into you. Alright, so this is the key I was talking about for the suits. So it's basically a light bulb that attracts moths, and the moths eat the suits. So kind of a cute little like take on the key door situation. Alright, so this is a big magnet that allows us to get rid of this door. As well as shoot bolts at things like that. You may be asking, what is going on in this level? This seems like a bunch of nonsense. There's a hot dog in the main hub. Basically, your dad's asleep. We gotta wake him up, and we gotta wake him up by pressing all these levers. Yep, so this whole section is skipped by just jumping on that lamppost. Very easy. It is. You could do that. It's as easy as it looks. But yeah, so that's probably one of the goofiest sections of this split, because you could just skip it right to the end, like incredibly easily. Yeah, I would say one annoying part about this level is these long hallways. It's kind of difficult to have like really good movement through here. This split is very movement intensive because of these long hallways. Alright, so now we gotta go get the last wish, the green wish. And you'll notice that these green stars weren't here before. They star based on after you pull those levers on the machine. So the reason I was able to get yellow and purple at the same time was because we skipped getting the yellow stars and spawned in the purple ones before we got the yellows. Alright, so now we're going to get the last star in this level, which is the most annoying. I'm also going to make a safety save here because there is a place where the game can crash. And so I'm going to do this real quick. Alright, now we don't have to worry about a crash. I had a safety save at one point, but I can't find the memory. I couldn't find the memory card this morning, so I had to do that real quick. There's only one real like crash that happens any kind of normalcy, which is this one in this level, which hopefully we don't see it, but just maybe. Alright, so this next suit skip is kind of funny. It's very easy. All you have to do is if you run against this wall, he can't catch you. I don't know, I'm not sure why, but if you run against the wall, it can't get you. Alright, this is a pretty fun little skip here. If I line myself up just right. Oh, that was just barely too early on the jump, I think. This is kind of a tight angle, but it's pretty fun. It's a good trick. Saves a couple seconds. So basically, like I would have lost time at this point, but that's all right. We're here for the tricks. There we go. Looking good. All right, so here's where this crash could happen, right here. All right, no crash. All right, we're good. For some reason, that boost pad will crash the game. Hello? Sometimes. We don't really understand why, but sometimes when you use the action flaction on that on that boost pad, the game will just hard crash. All right, first try on that suit skip. That one is generally one of the harder ones. And then we can just jump right up onto this trophy. Oh, that was just barely too early. That was unfortunate. I gotta wait a cycle. There's this like platforming section here, but we can skip it all by jumping onto the trophy. and then catching this platform at the very end of its cycle. It's a bit tight to get that last jump. And then we can skip that other piece by doing a run jump there. And then we can skip the last suit by coming over here and doing another precise run jump. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I tried to skip on a cutscene you can't skip.
That's much better. But we need fuel. Head for that cortex portal-y thingy.
Alright, so now, oops. So now we can head back to the main hub area and get ready for the boss fight. And we have the first of 2 auto-scrollers in this game. Luckily, we don't have to see the other one in this category. Also, in the all levels category, we used to have to do the auto-scroller. But we recently, thanks to Alexis DR and Rebel Rose, were able to find a way to skip it. Alright, but this is what the auto-scrollers look like. Essentially, just a rail shooter for some reason. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get the crash. Yeah, there's a lot of tricks in this game. It's one of those games that you don't like. No one thinks Fairly OddParents Shadow Showdown when they hear the word speedrun, except for us who run this game. But there's a lot of really neat skips. There's a lot of cool out of bounds. The all levels run also has even more crazy tricks. It used to be the all levels run had not a lot of tricks at the end, but now it's full of them. So no, regardless of what category you run, there is a ton of cool tricks you can get the chance to do, or not do, depending on how comfortable you are with them. Also, yeah, apparently boats are fueled with light bulbs. Who knew? Not me. There's a number of glitches you can do in this portion too. You might have seen I was clipping through a few things, but you can get stuck up in the wall up here. Alright, here we go. Gotta make sure to select no there. If you hit yes, it'll make you do it again. I really want the magnet here before we go. Alright, there we go. Game looks amazing, unless you run 100%. Oh yeah, the 100% category is insanely long, and we have not routed it, so there's like not good skips for it. But it's like 2 or 3 hours long. Alright, so here's the boss for Dad's Dream. So basically, I have to knock him down with a crane and then shoot bolts at him. This might look easy, but it is deceptively difficult at times. There's a lot of ways for you to miss a cycle or like lose a cycle because of something you did. For example, if I skip that cutscene too early, I'll lose a cycle. Because I will get a glitch where I will basically be soft locked here until I take damage. And then here, these pillars have good sound cues, which is nice, because otherwise they're pretty difficult to see. I need one more. Alright. Not a bad boss fight there. Usually that boss fight can be pretty terrible. If it gives you any trouble at all, it loses a ton of time. So I'm glad that was not a problem for us today. So alright, now into what used to be the most boring level in the run, which is now one of the most fun levels in the run. We saw a pretty big overhaul in the strats used in this level. Alexis, no, I am not gonna do pit skip. I'm gonna do the other route. So there's 2 routes through this level. There's the inbounds route and the out of bounds route. They are incredibly comparable to timing. We believe, we're not 100% sure, but we believe that the inbounds route is actually faster by about 1.5 to 2 seconds, done optimally over optimal out of bounds route. The thing with that though, is the out of bounds route is way easier to do optimally. The inbounds route is a lot more technical when it comes to movement. And movement in this game, similar to a lot of other speedruns, is really where you're going to lose all your time. Oops, that didn't quite work. So here I'm going to use a glitch where Timmy usually doesn't accelerate all the way immediately. It takes him a minute. Oh no, that was unfortunate. And so if you walk against a wall and then flip around, he'll have full walking speed. immediately, which allows you to like kind of cut that box jump a little short. You can actually cut it 1 square shorter, but it's really sketchy. Alright, so now we're getting our stars for this level. We actually only need this one item because it's the only item required to beat the boss, and it also allows us to do some pretty cool glitches. I think once y'all see the item, you'll understand, oh, I can see how this might be really broken. This is a pretty fun room, actually. It's got this like little button little button timed thing where you have to do like it's supposed to be like tight timing, but if you're using speedrun movement, it's really not that bad. Though if you fall, you'll have to do this whole room again, which takes forever. Oh crap! I couldn't see the ghost. There he is. All right. So here's the wish for this level. It allows us to flip the entire room on its head. Oop, you really don't want to get the grab there. And this allows us to do some pretty interesting stuff. So I'm actually going to do another quick safety save. That wasn't exactly where I wanted to land, but it was close. Because this is another place where you can lose tons of time if you do it wrong. So basically what we're going to do here is... actually, I'll show you, and then I'll explain it. Alright, so I'm going to get to a precise spot right here. I'm going to flip. I'm going to move the camera in the air. I'm going to immediately flip again, and I'm going to hold straight up. And so basically, in this game, when you have a cutscene play, a lot of the times it will put Timmy in a specific spot. Oh, and this is why we had the safety save. So, alright, so basically so the way that trick works, right, is you basically flip the room and then fall into a cutscene. And the cutscene expects the room to be in the other orientation because you expected you to walk into them. But since you have flipped the room, it puts you on the wrong side of the floor, and so it ends up putting you on top of everything. The problem with that is, unlike a lot of other games, there's no kill floor out of bounds, meaning that if you fall out of bounds, it's essentially like a soft lock in that you have to, I don't know how that didn't work, in that you have to restart the level. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so that was unfortunate. I just was in the wrong spot when I jumped. I was supposed to be like right here instead of over a block where I was. Alright, so then we can fall all the way down here, and this gets us way out of bounds to where we're at this completely other part of the level. And so I'm going to load in this room right here, and then so this room has a ton of death planes around it because it's actually just like a big pit. So what we need to do to get around it is we need to walk off this edge while I hit the button, and so you kind of fall while using the item, and it allows me to fall on the other side of the death pit that's out of bounds for that one. So now we can run over here. If I stand right on these pieces of wood and flip, we can land right on this bottom piece here. I'm going to do the same thing we just did with the falling item trick. And that allows us to get right up here. And now I'm going to jump around up here a little bit. And now if we go over here and I look up, the boss room is actually spawned. And you actually do have to walk around on the top of that thing, otherwise it won't spawn. It's kind of weird how this thing spawns. There's a couple conditions for it. So now, we're in the boss room. So usually you would have to go through like a long like block pushing maze and do a bunch of other stuff. But if you get out of bounds and you manage to spawn the boss room, flip on top of it and jump into the trigger for the cutscene, you can skip all of that. But that's a pretty new trick as well. We knew about getting out of bounds in Clue for like a long time, but we had no idea how to get to the boss, or get back in bounds. And so I spent a couple hours doing some digging, and we were able to figure that out. Super fun trick. Oh boy, the camera is not playing nice right now. So I don't know if I'm gonna get this first try here. Come on. Okay, that should be fine. All right, so basically you have to center this ghost, quote unquote, on top of these boxes. The first one is the most difficult because of the camera angle they give you. As long as like a little bit of their shadow is touching the box, it works, or the back end of their shadow. But if you cannot, if the back end of the shadow is like off of the box, it like doesn't work for some reason. The collision for this challenge is really funky. So I'm just gonna back you up just a little bit. I think that'll work. All right, that one works. Yeah, this boss is like not actually difficult, but can be kind of finicky just because of the way that like the collision works. All right, that should be good. It's a nice little break after a hectic split, though. Oh, what? That missed. I'm shocked that missed. I'll pull you out just a little bit more. Go in a little bit. There we go. Perfect. All right, here we go. This is the one. There it is. All right, we lost a little bit of time there to falling out of bounds, but that's all right. Yeah, I don't know how that missed either, Alexis. That was goofy. That boss is very finicky. All right, so this is the point in all levels where we would go and do the longest level in the run. But this is any percent. And in any percent, we don't play all of the levels. We just skip right to the end. You can just jump off that table and skip to the end of the game. It is pretty easy to do that trick. It's kind of hilarious how easy that is. And the fact that they had no idea and that made it through the game. Alright, so this boss fight's a little tricky. You have to, I'm gonna use some like RNG manipulation here to try to get him to stay in the same spot. So basically what I'm doing is he will go to like a specific button based on where you're standing. So if I stand to the right of this button, he'll want to go to the button to the left of it, but he's already there. And so it ends up being quite a bit faster because he doesn't have to move. And this is like a newer strat as well. Also, you'll notice he hits his cane against the ground to try to like push me away, but I can ground pound it to cancel it out. And time is when I make this hit on the foot here, and time. All right.
Very nice job.
Thank you. All right, yeah, that went pretty well, I think. Not an amazing run, you know, not a world record, but we made it to the end. We didn't I didn't soft lock without a safety save anytime, so we're good. Oh my goodness, my hat's back on. I didn't realize I was still wearing the hat. I think that was being turned on with my speedrun pedal because I had that one selected, so space was turning the hat on and off every time I split. Also, I just wanna give a little look down at my desk here. My desk is absolutely covered in the confetti. But yes, welcome to the Horrible Games Marathon, Heartbreak. I hope everyone has a wonderful time and enjoys all of the runs. Make sure to donate Heartland Animal Shelters, great organization, but glad that I was able to help open up the race. Glad that I was able to absolutely destroy my room in confetti. So yeah, I guess, Playful, I'll pass that back to you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. So, let's give it up for Earllgray. Their run was really cool. Coming up next is going to be Jai Hart and his Family Guy Back to the Multiverse Switchless Brain Only NG Plus run. So we'll be coming back for that in a few minutes here, so stay tuned.